and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm talking about some recent horror reads. So this is going to be me talking about books I read in November and December. In November, I read 3 books and I attempted to read another book but ended up DNFing it because it just wasn't for me. One of the books I read in November was Devolution by Max Brooks, and this centers around a group of people who leave the big city life for a life of freedom in the wilderness. They move to this area that is on the side of a mountain, and the mountain erupts one day and it sends some Bigfoot creatures their way, and they quickly learn that becoming one with nature isn't all that it's cracked up to be, because sometimes nature doesn't want you. So this was told through diary entries of one of the people who were there, and it's similar to World War Z, which is Max Brooks' other best-selling horror novel about zombies. This one wasn't as exciting as I wanted it to be. It was filled with characters that I didn't really like. There was one character in particular who I did like because she was this strong woman who she had dealt with disaster before, so she kind of took charge of the situation and kind of acted like a mother figure to our main character and her boyfriend. And it was hard to connect with the characters. But the action, when the action with the Bigfoot happens, it was really descriptive and horrifying. The first couple of 100 pages, I was just waiting for the crap to hit the fan, because you know going into this that a massacre happened, but you just don't know how it happens. So there's a lot of dread and buildup, and there's a lot of violence that happens. I've heard that this is great on audiobook, and I can understand why, because the descriptions of everything that's going on, it's very immersive, but it is a little boring at times. However, I did enjoy it for the most part. I'm glad I read it. I think I gave it like 3 stars. It was an enjoyable read. Another book I read this month is Censor by Junji Ito. This is a manga. So this story is centered on a town that is covered in this hair-like fiber, and it's about cults and just a lot of weird cosmic horror stuff. It was really kind of underwhelming for me. The story wasn't that terrifying, but the visuals are stunning. That's one of the highlights of Junji Ito, is his drawings are just so grotesque and beautiful and just disturbing. I just think the overall story wasn't that exciting. It's not my favorite. There's a story in here that really disturbed me. It involves bugs that like to be squished, and that grossed me out. I don't like bugs. It was okay. I'm glad I read it, but it's not my favorite. Then I attempted to read The Death of Jane Lawrence. I wanted to love this book so much. It is described as a Crimson Peak-like story, so it's centered on a young woman who's very strong and seemingly independent, and she's taking charge of her life, and she reaches out to this bachelor who is a successful doctor, and she's like, look, you're not married, I'm not married, we should strike up a deal here and marry each other for the sake of our futures, and I'll help you out in the long run, and we can really, scratch each other's backs, whatever. It's not about love. But then for some reason she falls in love with him. I don't know why. And she moves to his creepy mansion, or she's not supposed to go to this mansion, but she ends up getting stuck there because a storm rolls in. She uncovers some dark secrets about her new husband and the events that took place at this mansion. So all seems well. It does sound like Crimson Peak. I thought I was gonna get a really gothic, slow burn ghost story, but this is not that. It started off that way, and then it ventured into a completely different direction, into a realm of magic, and I'm not into that. I wanted to push on. I read about 195 pages, and every time I picked it up, I was just so mad that it was going in a direction I wasn't told it was going to go into. Don't present the book as being Crimson Peak and then go into a magical world. I'm sorry. I don't care about magic. I care about ghosts. The character was she became almost pathetic in her quest to take care of this man who gave no shits about her. She just completely changed her character, and I couldn't gel with it. So I put it down. Maybe I'll try to finish it, because 200 pages is a lot, but it's almost 400 pages, and I wanted to get to other things, so I did not finish that one. The next story I picked up was The Woman in Black. I read this for the Horror in 24 pick for November. So this is a classic ghost story. It is centered around a young solicitor who is sent to this small village and he must take care of this old woman's estate. He learns that this woman wasn't well liked in the village and this house has a dark history surrounding it, and everybody warns him to stay away, but he like scoffs at them and he's like, whatever, I have a job to do. So he goes to this house, which becomes an island at certain points of the day when the tide rolls in. When you're at this house, he gets trapped there when the tide rolls in, so he's stuck there and he discovers that the house is haunted. This story is a slow, atmospheric build. It has so much tension and dread. It is just what I want in a ghost story. It has a really sad backstory that will move you and make you feel really emotional and sad for the ghost, and it has some haunting imagery. And there's a particular scene where our main character is out in the marsh looking for a way out and he gets trapped in the fog and it kind of disorients him and he starts seeing and hearing things. It's just so well done, and the ending of the story is also just a gut punch. It's just a gothic ghost story that it is what it is. It doesn't tell you it's going to be a gothic ghost story and be something else, okay? Death of Jane Lawrence. It gave me what I wanted it to give. Thank you. I need to read more Susan Hill. Now we're moving into December, which I'm really proud of myself because I read 4 books. First is Bone White by Ronald Malfi. This story blew me away. So it is centered on a man whose twin brother disappeared a year prior, and he disappears in this weird town in Alaska and they haven't been able to find him. They don't know what happened. And then one day, this man in that town walks into a diner and admits to murdering a bunch of people and burying them on his property. This sparks this whole new journey for our main character, who learns of this man's admission, and he goes to the new town to investigate and find out if his brother is one of the victims. And this town that he goes to there's something off about this town. It's really creepy. There are crosses everywhere. The people are really mysterious and secretive, and you just have a sense of danger and like there's something bigger going on and they're not telling him about it. And there's kids running around with animal masks on. It's just creepy, and it's filled with snow. It's a snowy Alaskan town. It is just a perfect winter read that will make you really uncomfortable and disturb you. It's just creepy. It's really creepy. I really like Ronald Malfi. Then I picked up Karin Slaughter's Pretty Girls. This book is very disturbing. This has been on a lot of disturbing books lists. It centers around 2 estranged sisters who reunite after the death of one of their husbands, which leads them to uncover a dark secret. I can't say much without giving it away, but it is definitely disturbing. It has extreme violence against women, and it's also a story about trauma and abuse and family bonds and how certain events can truly break a family, break them apart. I really liked the relationship between the 2 sisters in this because it was complicated and it felt real and they felt like real struggles, and it was nice to watch them kind of bond over this shared new trauma, and it was just really hard to read. Karin Slaughter writes violence so well. Like, I could feel everything that was happening to the characters. You have to prepare yourself if you want to read this because it's tough. There's long drawn out scenes of torture happening and it was not easy to read, and it made me physically ill. Like it's not a fun read, but it was a really interesting read. The first 60% of this book, incredible. So page turning. I could not get enough of it. My heart was just racing against my chest and I couldn't believe what was happening. It was just this insane mystery, and then it takes a turn in a direction I didn't really like, and then I found it kind of boring, and I was just kind of like, okay, let's get on with it, you know? It was still good, but I just thought it petered out towards the last half. Even though horrible stuff is still happening, it peaked for me 60% in. It should have been shorter. I would compare this to the movie 8mm starring Nicolas Cage and Seven. It has such a David Fincher feel. Like, if this was made into a movie, it would be made into a movie by David Fincher. Then I read Five Total Strangers, which is another winter thriller, and I believe this one is YA, and it's centered around a young girl who is on a flight home to visit her mom for Christmas. Her mom's struggling because she lost her twin sister, and the daughter is hoping to go there and take care of her. But the flight is stranded because of this huge snowstorm, and she decides to get into a car with her seatmate and 4 other people that she doesn't know, and thinks it's gonna be an easy way home. And she quickly learns that it's not, because she doesn't know these people and they have secrets, and one of them is a thief. There's some weird stuff, there's stuff going on. I was really excited for this one because I love the premise, but it did not live up to the hype for me. I was very bored. There was absolutely no tension in this, even though the situation is terrifying when you think about it, but I just didn't care. I didn't care about the characters. There never felt like there was this sense of danger, and I never felt like I needed to turn the page to learn what was going to happen. I always knew that the main character was going to be fine. There was never uneasiness or anything that unsettled me, and that's not good in a thriller. Like, I need there to be danger. I need for stuff to actually happen, and I think it might be because it was for YA, but it bored me, and none of the characters were interesting. They were all very cardboard cutout, one-dimensional, and I just couldn't connect with anybody. It just felt like a lot of stuff was forced. There's also a stalker plot in this that it just felt very contrived and unbelievable. Everything in this story, it didn't make sense, and I just didn't like it. Anyway, I did finish my month off with Where the Dead Go to Die. It is a unique spin on the zombie story where it centers on people living in the post-apocalypse world like normal with these zombies in the world, but they're kept safe. Like, the world is still going on with these zombies happening. It's like a pandemic, and our main character, she gets a job at a hospice, which is where people who are infected with the zombie virus go to die with dignity. This story was really interesting. It features really cool artwork that goes along with the story, and there's a lot of social commentary in this about women's right to choose, social injustice. There's a lot happening in this, and I thought it was a very interesting story. It was very moving at times. Does not feature a lot of zombie action. It's mostly a character study on people who are living after this pandemic has happened. They're just living their everyday lives, and it's just there's a chance that a zombie might be around the corner, but zombies aren't really a huge threat in this. They become a huge threat, but that's not really the point of the story. It felt like there was nothing really going on. It was just a story, just a laid back day in the life of these people. And in between all that, there's flashbacks to our main character's life before the pandemic, and I really liked those. I liked learning what happened to her before and seeing the trauma. She experiences some really traumatic stuff with zombies. That was exciting. That was very fast-paced, filled with tension and suspense. And then when the current stuff, I was just kind of bored. I was like, okay, this is interesting and sad, but where's this going? And it all builds up to a chaotic finish, and it's pretty sad. It's not a zombie story. Zombies are used as a metaphor, as they typically are. Zombies are always used as a metaphor for some social commentary, some social issues, and there were a lot that this book tackled. I think it tried to bite off a little more than it could chew. Zombie pun, you see? And there you have it. Those are the books I read in the last 2 months. Overall, I had a pretty decent reading time. It's hard at the end of the year. I feel like there's so much going on. I'm trying to watch all of the horror movies that I need to see and read all the things I need to read. And it's just chaotic with the holidays, and I didn't get as much reading as I wanted to, but I still read. Please let me know what you have read recently and what you plan on reading next. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I will catch you next time.